He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is The Alex Marlow Show.
All right, it's a Hawaiian shirt birthday to me on The Alex Marlow Show. Thank you for being here, and it's going to be a good day. We had a lot of news to get through, but I will tell you, I haven't gotten any gifts yet. It's early in the day where I am as we're recording this, but Misty said she got me something. She said, it's not here yet, it's in the mail, but she got me some video footage of the item she's purchased for me. And, you know, Misty and I are just getting to know each other. We've only known each other for a few months, so this really means a lot. So, Misty, let me check out what you got.
We saw Trump moved his inauguration indoors because he can't handle the cold. So we made him a custom sweatshirt. Nice and cozy. Stay warm, Donald.
Wait a minute. This is some sort of a joke here. I'm getting a snowflake sweatshirt that was intended for Donald Trump because he wanted to have his inauguration indoors. Man, oh, that's so funny. It's so funny that exists. These people are so weak. He got shot in the ear, and then he beat everyone's butt in the election. It's going to be a great birthday. I know this because the FDA is allowing Johnson & Johnson's ketamine-derived nasal spray for standalone depression treatment. So luckily, depression isn't my burden in life. It's many other people's. It's not mine. But I will say that if I ever have it, a horse tranquilizer is exactly how I intend to treat it, and just right in time for a birthday. Sounds like a party. It's a Friday birthday, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with a Friday birthday because you should really do something fun. It's a celebratory occasion. We got the show off the ground. We are doing all sorts of winning. Not only did Trump win, but he's got the eye of the tiger. He can't stop doing great stuff. And I am going to blow it. I am going to blow it. It's still too busy. It's too busy. I can't do anything that big. I can't pull away from the computer. I'll be the computer all weekend. There's too much going on. Senate's confirming people around the clock, I'm told, all weekend. So I'm going to waste it. And it's sad because it won't come up for another 6 or 7 years, I guess is the math, because there's a leap year. So I guess it'll be 6 years. So I'm 39 today. So I guess I'm getting older because I think 39 was the year my mom stopped counting. So I always had that on the calendar as I must be old when I hit 39. And I have a vivid memory of my dad's 40th birthday. So when I was, I guess, 6 or 7 at the time, I guess 6. That's funny. So but I think I've already done my midlife crisis. We'll do that on a less newsy show. But I think that took place when I was 37, heading into 38. So I'm feeling pretty good, in a happy mood today, and nothing particular to celebrate. Just life is good and very optimistic for 2025. I will refrain from doing more reflections because I did my New Year's resolution show, which was really fun, which we've made some progress. We did whip out the stand mixer. So that was one of my goals. And we've not used the vanilla bean. Tonight would be a perfect night because my big gift for Mrs. Dr. Marlow is the Oreo cheesecake. This is my treat every year. I've barely exercised for the last 2 months, which is a big confession in the audience because I'm a big advocate for exercising. And it's just been too busy with the election, post-election. And I had the gumption to get on the scale. And I'm only up 1 pound. And I thought, that's good. I can handle that. It's going to be a cheesecake party this weekend with the children, and we're going to have a great time. So that's my favorite birthday story. But my second favorite one is you all have no idea if you're a news junkie, if you're someone who thinks of the news as a spectator sport, the way I do, think of it as dead serious as well. It has a big effect on all of our lives, the news of the day. But those of you who look at the news as a spectator sport, do you know how lucky we are to be in the environment we're in? Because we are on the precipice of getting, and this is not a joke, the 2028 presidential election will be between Donald Trump and Barack Obama. Can you believe it? It's a real thing. Andy Ogles in Tennessee has got a bill out, which is going to have to be a constitutional amendment, so there's going to be a long process. But he wants to amend the Constitution so that Trump can run again for a third term. And, Roosevelt had 4 terms, or 3, and then he died in office, I guess. So he got elected 4 times. So it's not, within the last 100 years, not unprecedented that this would happen. And, Trump's the best guy we got, and he's doing a great job. So far be it for me to stand in the way. I've been making this joke that's not really been a joke for a long time, that we're running Trump 2028, Trump 2032, Trump 2036. Doesn't matter. Let's keep doing it. What do we care? We basically operate like a monarchy anyway. Just look at the way the deep state operated under Biden with all of these bureaucratic agencies that are controlled by the executive branch, doing all sorts of things they have no power to do. I think about the Jack Smith appointment. Jack Smith special counsel, which had so much power, it was just appointed by Merrick Garland. Typically, the special counsels come from U.S. attorneys. Smith wasn't. He was at The Hague prosecuting war crimes for a kangaroo court. They bring him back. They give him all sorts of power. He operates with impunity for 18 months, harassing Trump in the middle of a campaign, nonstop. And then finally, someone said after about 18 months, like, hey, he shouldn't even be here. This isn't even a real job. The Constitution does not provide for this. And Biden and Garland just got away with it for 18 months. It's already monarchical anyway. So well, who are we kidding? So anyway, what people are missing, though, is that if Trump can run for a third term, so can Obama. And you know the Democrats are not going to have some sort of a better option than Obama in 4 years. And Obama is getting stronger by the day because what did we learn this week? That he's allegedly having an affair with Jennifer Aniston. This is what's sweeping the news cycle, guys. There is, according to some tabloids, a leaked DM confirms, and by confirms, we mean not confirms, but it suggests, from a social media influencer that Jennifer Aniston had a affair with Barack Obama that may or may not be ongoing. Some influencer said, my old manager, now a friend, is connected to her inner circle. At a gathering with Jennifer's friends, the affair came up casually. Jennifer herself admitted it. They were sitting with a psychic, which makes it sound surreal, but it's definitely not a secret among her closest friends. So Jennifer Aniston's with Obama. You guys saw the Michelle stuff that's going on. It's on my Twitter. I pointed this out. There are all these rumors that Michelle and Barack are on the outs. She didn't show up at Carter's funeral. She didn't show up at the inauguration. And they staged this photo at dinner, but it wasn't really a dinner. You could tell it was a staged photo. They didn't even have water in their glass. Like they weren't going to have a meal together. Michelle was not looking good, and she normally does look pretty good. I mean, I don't think of her as a particularly beautiful woman, but she stays in shape. She got those arms, remember? And Barack posts a photo of her not looking her best at a staged dinner. They even had, one of you point this out in email, one of those AC units that goes in the wall, the type of things that I had in my first apartment. We had no centralized air, where you go down to Home Depot, it's like $230 and you just hang it in the wall. It's not, I don't even know if it's a real restaurant. It was so staged, so obviously staged. So they're having problems. And does that mean that Obama is, what's he doing with his spare time? All the speculation is that it's spending it with Jennifer Aniston. So picture this, ladies and gentlemen. You think we're doing enough winning now? Imagine a 2028 presidential race. Trump versus Obama, Melania versus Jennifer Aniston. Is that not the news cycle we all want and need and crave and deserve? Now, I will not convey to you how much tongue-in-cheek I'm being. I will tell you that is more than 0%, but way less than 100, that this is a legit possibility. Do I think that people will spend all the political capital on Trump having to run again when he'll be well into his 80s? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I know that I would not totally dismiss it, and don't think the Democrats couldn't use a little burst of Obama right now, especially sans Michelle. So pretty cool, and that's what I was excited to share with you on my birthday. One other thing I want to share with you is you guys know that I have a commitment to you that I will not bring any products to the show, any advertisers that I wouldn't recommend myself and wouldn't use for my family. And so you've heard about how we just are sitting around too much. We're stuck in traffic. We're on the couch. We're scrolling. And this is creating for a lot of people joint pain, stiff muscles, and weak bones. So there's this new technology out from this company called Juvent. It's changing the game. It's these micro impact platforms, cutting edge science developed for astronauts coming home. And they had weak bones. That's where it got developed. And I ran this by the trusted voices in my life. I'm talking board certified doctors, and they said flat out, this is legit technology. It's going to help bone density, bone health as you age, but also it's going to help things like flexibility, longevity, and recovery for athletes. So it's really for the whole family. And we're not walking 10,000, 100,000, 50,000 steps a day. Everyone makes that a goal. It doesn't happen. So what are we going to do about it? Well, I think this is what you do about it. This is what I've been doing. So I've been incorporating the Juvent platform into my day-to-day routine, and it's basically zero effort. I've got my routine down. What I've been doing lately is I pick up Master Marlow Jr. from school. I come back, I get in my platform, I start my editorial call at Breitbart, and I'm on there for 10 or 20 minutes. For me, I do 20 because I'm a robust guy. And I just sit there and I listen to the news from my colleagues. I get caught up on what's going on. And I've done my micro impact, essentially exercise for my bones every day. And it's making me stronger. And I know if you give it a shot, it's going to make you stronger too. It's going to make your free time more productive as well. So instead of just sitting on the couch, which is what I used to do during that time, now what I'm doing is I'm doing something good for my health, something really simple and kind of enjoyable, to be frank. So again, this is something that is 10-year limited warranty. Financing options, FSA funds are available. The whole family can use it. Master Marlow Jr. was on it the other day. Not very long. He's going to get bored pretty fast, but he can be on it. And it's one of these things where they've got your back. 6 weeks, you don't like it, they buy it back from you. So you don't take my word for it. You try it out yourself. But what I would like for you to do, if you trust me and you're into this idea, Juvent.com/Marlow. Use the code Marlow checkout. You get a $500 off coupon. $500 off. You can take control of your health. It's something I'm doing this year. I'm already feeling good. I've just got going on it, and I'll keep you posted on my progress on it. All right, let's dig into some of the stuff in the news. Trump is going to be all over the country right now, heading to North Carolina, and he's going to be surveying disaster relief there. Then he headed out here to California. Very excited about this because he will be meeting up with Joel Pollack from Breitbart. So we will have exclusive reporting for you at Breitbart later in the day, but it wasn't realistic that I couldn't wait to do the show until he talked to Joel, because he started off the day in North Carolina, and then he's going to go to the Altadena fires, which is a more working class neighborhood in LA that got hit almost as bad as the Palisades. But the Palisades, by nature of the wealth, how picturesque it was, coastal stuff, of course that was going to get more attention. And so he'll be all over the place, and he's got a lot to say about what's going on. He's been doing all these really cool press events where he's doing these helicopter things where he's about to get in the helicopter. He takes a bunch of questions from people, speaking off the cuff a little bit, because he's fearless now. He doesn't trust the fake news, and neither do you, which is a big deal. So let's hear, we had a little bit him talking about FEMA. Let's hear this one.
Probably less FEMA, because FEMA just hasn't done the job. And we're looking at the whole concept of FEMA. I like, frankly, the concept when North Carolina gets hit, the governor takes care of it. When Florida gets hit, the governor takes care of it, meaning the state takes care of it. To have a group of people come in from an area that don't even know where they're going in order to solve immediately a problem is something that never worked for me. But this is probably one of the best examples of it not working. And there's been some others, like in Louisiana, etc. So we're going to be doing something on FEMA that I think most people agree. I'd like to see the states take care of disasters. Let the state take care of the tornadoes and the hurricanes and all of the other things that happen. And I think you're going to find it a lot less expensive. You'll do it for less than half, and you're going to get a lot quicker response. So that seems to be the recommendation, but we'll be making that recommendation over the next couple of weeks. We're going to go.
It's a lot better messaging than yesterday. I was griping with some of his callous messaging yesterday on the show, and that's a little better. That's hard to disagree with that. I mean, you would like from my political worldview, I think that governance starts at a micro level. Starts with governing yourself, treating yourself well, and then your family, having a strong family. Then it goes out from there. It goes to your community, your city, your state, and then finally the federal government's a last resort. And there's almost no place for international superstate government. Almost always disappoints. Even the sort of good ones, like NATO was sort of good for a while, and now NATO's getting us in all sorts of trouble, and we're wasting a ton of money. So that almost never works. So the left always thinks the opposite. They're, the Jack Smiths of the world, go to the International Criminal Court. Not good enough. America's courts aren't enough. You need like a bigger international court. Do you remember when Jack Smith, when they hired him, he couldn't come back to the United States right away because he got in a bicycle accident? He got hit by a car, so I'm riding his bicycle. So I just find that sort of amusing. Like you can't really get started because you're at The Hague and you're bicycling and got hurt. But anyway, point is that he wants states to handle disasters the way they often do. In Florida, it makes sense. FEMA does a terrible job. And remember, FEMA was discriminating against Trump's own supporters, denying skipping over their houses if they had Trump signs on their lawn, and they confirmed it. So sick freaks over there at FEMA, and he's thinking about wrapping it up. Hard to blame him. All right, let's see. He talks some more. The voter ID.
You talk about conditions being placed on aid to California, voter ID, and the like. Are there any conditions that you're going to put on aid to North Carolina?
we're going to do a lot for North Carolina. You know, they've been very slow. I don't know why it's been so bad. This has been one of the worst I've seen. Katrina, of course, you know, was something that obviously that was a long time ago. That was not good. But this has been very slow. I don't know if that was for political reasons because they lost the state. You know, Biden lost the state. Maybe he felt he doesn't care. Maybe there were other reasons. I don't know. But this has been very slow. By any standard, this has been very slow. And we're gonna make up for lost time.
No conditions. You're going to push for aid.
Well, in California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting, and it's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire. So, but here I don't have that. It's a different thing. You got hit by a storm. The people are incredible. They worked really well. Franklin was fantastic.
Okay, so this is where Trump is. He really can just say whatever he wants now because no one trusts the fake news establishment media. And this provides a lot of opportunity for him because he can really speak the mind, and you have to actually take him seriously now. They can't just race to the next scandal. So you actually get to think about what he's saying, that he was saying for years that California's water management is not good. He has some firsthand experience. He's a massive golf course on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. It's a beautiful place. And so I'm sure he's aware of, you know, water is a huge factor for golf courses, particularly in blue states where they regulate it a lot. I'm sure he's well aware of it. I'm sure he understands the policy to a basic level. The guy who runs True Social, his social media app, is Devin Nunes, who is was a congressman who is from the center of California, where water issues are the number one most important issue. A lot of it's farmers who the access to water is the main factor in their lives, in their businesses. So Trump knows his stuff kind of well. And he was saying that you guys are doing all wrong. And so he's putting some teeth on some of the stuff that he was saying yesterday. So he wants California to be able to manage their water better. These are conditions for us to get a bunch of aid. So now it's kind of too late, and people need help now. And a lot of people who voted for him and their houses burned down through no fault of their own. So I do hope he's comes around a little bit. But him saying that if you want continued support, that you have to manage your water better. You can't just work on DEI stuff and work on electric vehicles and preserve the Delta spelt, the spotted owl, and get new salmon runs going. And then when a disaster happens and you go crawl the federal government and ask for tax funds, like that's not okay. And not to mention that we're also going to give you another list of stuff that we think is important, like having voter ID, which is a common sense thing. The only reason not to have voter ID is if you want to cheat in elections. It's the only reason. You have ID for almost everything else. So you can't do a million things in this country without a voter ID. I couldn't get into my Facebook account because I was trying to do Facebook because now I'm doing the show and I want to be out there more for you guys wherever you are. I haven't been on Facebook in many years since Ben Smith over at BuzzFeed. He's now does something called Semaphore, where he sent one of his reporters over to my wife's personal Facebook account, started grabbing pictures. I thought that was very weird. She's not a public person, and put all those up on his website. So I went off Facebook at that point. Thought that was kind of a good call to preserve my family. But I'm trying to get back on a little bit because I'm doing the show and I want to promote the show and I want to interact with you guys if you're on those platforms. I couldn't get back in. And so I had to send them pictures of my ID, and that wasn't good enough. So then I had to go through a big rigmarole. But I can vote for president. I can vote for the district attorneys who are letting all these criminals off the hook without a voter ID. It doesn't make any sense. So Trump is saying that ends. It's all good stuff, all good stuff. So he's on fire. ICE roundups of gang members, child predators, and suspected terrorists have begun. The deportations have begun. And what's really fun about this from a news perspective is this is not one that they're trying to do. It's not one that they're trying to do subtly. They're trying to go big, because this is going to create the self-deportation atmosphere that we all want. We all want the self-deportation atmosphere. We all want people to have the sensation that I'm going to be next and I'm just going to make my life easy. I'm going to leave. And that sends a signal to other people stop coming, which is really looking down the road. So we've got all these images of deporting illegal aliens going viral, the deportation flights, people basically getting perp walked because, I mean, it is criminal behavior coming to the country illegally. ICE officials hitting every sanctuary city right now, according to Tom Homan. That's what I mean by the shock and awe approach. Sending a signal, it is time. It is time to go. F Trump, Biden forever, illegal alien from Haiti yells after ICE arrests. Another Haitian migrant arrested by ICE. Thank you, Obama, for everything you did to me. This one's unbelievable. We had a Breitbart News. The pregnant migrants are trying to get C-sections. This is what I'm saying about birthright citizenship. This is going to be a big theme. Maybe we'll tackle it next week, but it's coming up. Birthright citizenship. Doesn't make any sense. It's one of these things that we assumed is in the Constitution, very much open for interpretation. Anyone who's ever listened to Mark Levin would agree with this. And there's many exceptions to people giving birth within the country who are not citizens, but we've just deemed that illegal aliens, if you give birth, then the child is a citizen and through chain migration can not only bring their parents with the child, but also extended family, cousins and stuff. All because an illegal alien stuck in the country and gave birth. That is obviously illogical, obviously illegal. So it's just a matter of making sure that's enforced, enforcing the laws in the books. So clearly that's the law does not intend for those individuals to be able to have a bunch of chain migration because of the illegal alien child. So pregnant mothers seeking C-section. So they want to get the babies out. So the babies are citizens so that they can all stay. Now, on a human level, I'm very empathetic. I'm sympathetic. I'm fed up with trying to run the country in this way. You can't run the country with a bleeding heart. You have to run the country with your mind. And your mind is that this is not a good way to run the country. It not only undermines American sovereignty, it undermines the American workers because all this is going to be very costly. Costs lots of money. None of these people are going to pay for all their care. C-sections, what do they cost? 40, 50 grand? These people can't afford 40, 50 grand. So all that burden goes on us. Something like 80% of healthcare expenditures are done by the U.S. government, i.e. the taxpayers. So, and then these people work here and they drive down wages for the American working class. Duh. How long are we going to do this? Hopefully no longer. So anyway, Trump keeps winning. So we head out to California. Joel will meet with him. I don't know who else is going to be there. We know that little pencil neck was invited, and that little pencil neck is going to stay in Washington. He's our new senator. Trump talked about this. I want to play a clip.
I don't know. Is he going? Is he going? I don't know. I mean, I really don't. You know, because if he's going to be there, it would be cheaper, but I didn't invite him. Somebody did.
Yeah, it's really funny. I didn't invite him. That's great. So I'm interested to see who's going to show up because Newsom is apparently going to crash Trump's visit. I don't know if Trump wants to see Newsom after all. Those are the reports. This is what I reported yesterday. And now we're hearing Newsom is not invited and might meet Trump at the tarmac in Los Angeles. Apparently he's going to be landing in the Hollywood Burbank Airport, which is very close to where I am. So thoughts and prayers for my traffic this weekend. Just kidding. It's worth it. I'm glad he's here. Just kidding. Anyway, so Newsom might crash the visit. He's not entitled to be there. Just because you're the governor doesn't mean you can interfere with the business of the President of the United States. So we'll see how that goes. But Newsom needs to look like he's busy. And it'll be interesting to see how much politicking goes on and how much actually trying to help the people who've been suffering out here. Joel Pollack has a brilliant piece for us at Breitbart News, which is really along the lines of, I think, what Trump is talking about. It's his column, America Must Demand Change Before Bailing Out California. Essentially saying that you guys, we in this state have to amend the stuff we've been doing with regards to firefighting, policing, preparedness, water management, and clearing brush, fire breaks, clearing dead trees, clearing of fallen limbs, clearing all the lush wilderness that's out there that's just kindling for these events. So, and then you can get more fire aid. So, and if you want aid now, you got to commit to doing that stuff in the future. So I think that's right on, and it's very well stated by Joel. So we'll see how that goes, and a lot more over the weekend at Breitbart.com, and I'm sure I'll have something to say about it on Monday. Trump continues to make excellent pardons. He's pardoned now more than 20 pro-life activists targeted by the Biden Department of Justice. 23 people who were prosecuted should not have been prosecuted, Trump said. Many of them are elderly people. They should not have been prosecuted. It's a great honor to sign this. A lot of them were imprisoned and targeted for what Trump called ridiculous alleged crimes. And this is noteworthy because the March for Life is today. The March for Life is a great event. When I used to live in Foggy Bottom, center of Washington, D.C., right near Lincoln Memorial, it was one of the great events of the year because all these pro-lifers, a lot of them religious people, a lot of them younger people, very happy people showing up in Washington and just making it a more wholesome place for a weekend. So Biden administration went after them. The pro-life movement is a very powerful movement. It's very persuasive to people in a lot of ways. So the Biden DOJ used a lot of really KKK era conspiracy concepts to try to bust all these groups of people, including Christians who just wanted to, who were branded as co-conspirators because they had blockades and stuff. They're just doing basic protesting. All the type of stuff is so mild compared to Black Lives Matter. Trump doing all these pardons. We'd had our eye on this at Breitbart. More good news. The media can't keep up with Trump. The media elite are already whining. How many days into this? It's day 5. They're already whining that they're working too hard. First of all, guys, it's going to lighten up. I said this last time, 2020. I felt like late February, we started to get some sense of normalcy. So, but, you're going to have to put up with it for a little while. But it's the media elite saying they're exhausted. Good, because he's working. He's getting stuff done. A lot going on. Vice President Vance swearing in John Ratcliffe, CIA director, and Ratcliffe immediately put out his first interview with us at Breitbart News. He told us that the day one thing is get to the bottom of the Chinese origins of the coronavirus and the Wuhan lab leak. This is one of the stories of the century. It's the story of the century. It's the story of the century. And we, on a global level, you can make the case the rise of Trump is up there. You can make the case 9/11. All those are big. But I think the number one story probably in global level is coronavirus pandemic. It almost certainly leaked out of a lab in Wuhan, China. We completely ignored the origins of the virus. At Breitbart News, we were the first major outlet in America that I saw to report on what we saw as a mystery pneumonia breaking out in China. In Taiwan, had been warning the World Health Organization, led by the not doctor Ghebreyesus, Tedros. He's a doctor or something, but it's not medical. And Taiwan was saying this thing is bad, you got to get on it, and they ignored it for months. And then when it became clear that this was something that was funded by the U.S. government via Fauci, funded by, backed by the World Health Organization, it's basically a China puppet, then people stopped looking at the origins of the virus. Not acceptable, not okay. And people who even entertain the idea that it wasn't from some sort of a wet market, when a turtle and a vampire bat get mixed up in the same soup and the soup gets undercooked, that's why we have a global pandemic. Ridiculous. It was a weaponized biological weaponry from China, almost certainly. And that's what happened. And it's probably altered our body chemistry permanently. So many of the weird illnesses that we're seeing now, a lot of people think it's the vaccines. I don't think it's the vaccines as much as the actual coronavirus that's created in a Wuhan lab in China. A synthetic bioweaponry that's coursing through all of our systems now. It's a big deal. And we should, get to the bottom of it if we can. And that's what the CIA director is up to on day one, going to Breitbart, talk about it. Also ragging on deep state John Brennan. One of the worst things that ever happened to the agency was when Brennan led the CIA. Trump continues to take away security clearances and security details. Fauci's the latest. Mike Pompeo. Interesting with Pompeo, because I always kind of like Pompeo. I think he did a good job as Secretary of State. But I know he hit a lot of the people who I like online. He rubbed them the wrong way because very tough on Julian Assange. And Tucker had this big report that Pompeo was ordered a hit on Julian Assange and said something about Try to intimidate some people to not talk about confidential stuff. So I don't know. So a lot of people in Trump's orbit don't like the guy. I always thought he was all right, but maybe I'm missing something. But he's lost his security clearance. And it's just interesting to see how this new Washington is going to be completely different, because all of this old guard, even ones who would get along with Trump, are basically getting pushed out. And Trump's got all these mechanisms in place to try to clear out the deep state, the saboteurs, the people who harassed him for a long time as fast as possible. He's got the Daily Telegraph, UK Telegraph, London Telegraph, what do you want to call it? Had a very interesting story that Trump is propping up his agenda on a network of snitches. The U.S. president believes if federal employees ratting each other out will rid America of the deep state. Our own Rebecca Mansour, Breitbart, expressed her enthusiasm to me about the strategy. She had a very interesting take on it, saying that what he's doing here is that people, in order to preserve their own jobs, are going to rat each other out, and then they're going to be stuck wasting time investigating each other, all their claims. And it's going to give them less time to mischief. I kind of like it. So they're going to be preoccupied trying to meet some sort of loyalty test to Trump, as opposed to undermining his administration like they were last time. So the blob is going to all be jammed up with self-consuming busy work, is the way she phrased it. Pretty cool. So really interesting. So not to mention all this woke stuff still dying. We learned that Costco, this was interesting, Costco is not going to back off their diversity, equity, inclusion stuff. So it's funny because Walmart backed off of it, and I thought that would just really open the floodgates. I'm not a big Costco guy. I mean, it's impressive business in a lot of ways. I've never had one that close. So I think I've got a membership though, but I don't ever think I go over there very much. So we know they're left-wingers who run the business, but such a good business. They want to stick with the diversity stuff though. I just don't get it. We're moving on. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing the trans. We're not doing the furries. We're not doing the four spirits. Companies have got to get the gist of this thing. Ford recalls 272,000 vehicles due to electric battery problems. So we don't like the EVs. We don't like the DEI. So we've moved on. Facebook has seen the same engagement in Meta platforms, despite all these calls for boycotts, because Zuckerberg 2.0 is out there saying we're no longer leaning in, we're no longer doing the feminism, we're no longer discriminating against people. And it's interesting because I was tracking some of the metrics we have at Breitbart on Facebook, and we're doing better on Facebook since Zuckerberg has done this whole thing where he's out there and he's saying we're going to allow for more political content. So we're definitely doing better. However, so is the left's content. So there's a bit of a Trojan horse thing going on. So Zuckerberg, he's got the cool haircut, he's got the medallion, he's wearing the boxy shirts that look cool, speaking Trump's language, showing up at Trump stuff, looking down Jeff Bezos's girlfriend's blouse. So he's broing out, he's doing jujitsu, he's got alpha energy. But he's also enabling the left-wing participants on his platform to thrive as well. So don't think that he's not playing both sides. Of course he is. So I'm not shocked that engagement is steady, if not going up, because whoever's going to boycott, there's going to be other people who stick with the platform whose engagement's going to go up because it's an open, free speech environment. So a lot of people are coming out and starting to talk some sense. Ex-staffers for Politico admitted that their editors protected Joe Biden, saying, don't talk about the laptop. Isn't that insane? It is so obvious, patently obvious, that the laptop was real. It was a cry for help from Hunter. Hunter is a junkie, and he was still alive. He was barely surviving. He was getting neglected by his family. He was kind of having to pay for his family. He was the breadwinner. He was the one who made it rain. Joe Biden couldn't make it rain. He was tied up in the government. And he wasn't that good at business. He never was. He was always bad with money. I wrote about this extensively in Breaking Biden. Hunter was the genius who was getting the family bankrolled, and he was doing it while he was dealing with this massive addiction. He was also ultra close with his brother, who died of a brain tumor, the good brother. So he dropped out the laptop because he was asking for help. He was asking for a way out from the family. Someone go help him. And they said, no, it's the Russians. What? No. It was never the Russians. And all the frauds at left-wing Politico was like, yeah, we're not covering it. All right. I'm interested to get everyone's take on the JFK, MLK, all the files that Trump is going to declassify. There's a lot of people complaining that there's no point to it, but people want it. I don't have a problem with it. I'll tell you, my guess is we're not going to see anything that incredibly interesting about it. I think it's going to be more dull than people think. But maybe I'm a little cynical in that regard. I'm an Occam's razor guy. I feel like the obvious, simple stuff is usually what wins out. And I would find it shocking if the government really had been covering up to this extent with no leaks, some sort of massive bombshells. And I feel like I've read enough in the JFK conspiracy industry's content that I don't find it overly convincing. But maybe I'm wrong. And if I am, it'll certainly be interesting news. But if you have a take, I'm very curious. You can email me, aloha@alexmarlow.com. I'm fine with Trump declassifying stuff. I'm all for transparency. It's great news content. But I admit, I'm not sure we're going to get much. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Okay, here's a new trend I'm loving. The Georgia Lieutenant Governor, Burt Jones, he's launching state-level DOGE. So the Department of Government Efficiency, he's going to do it at state level. Golf clap for you, and now a full-blown football arena clap because Burt Jones gave this exclusive to Breitbart News. So, of course, they should do this. If you want to be a great at governance, start cutting. We have too much. The budget's too big. Start cutting. First thing you can do is cut. So there's so much excess. All the DEI, all these permanent people who you just don't want to fire, all these jobs, unleash them. Let people go. Let them start their lives doing something else. So I'm all for it. Every city should do this. Every state should do this. Let this be the standard that there's a DOGE. There's constant reappraisal of how they're spending money. So I will say that we're going to get some head fakes here too. People who are diversity officers or equity officers or civil rights leaders, whatever is the alleged title they had, they're just going to change titles is what's going to happen. So you're going to get people who have gone from chief diversity officer to just vice president or senior executive or department manager. They're just going to change the name and they're not going to fire people, and they'll do the same stuff. So we got to be very vigilant. The general trends are great, but there's still more we've got to do. So there's also the reports, I want to spend more time on this, that Trump wants to get rid of central bank digital currencies, something that I've talked about a little bit on the show, deserves more time. But if that's the case, that's a big win. So much happening in a positive sense. Let's see. Are you guys watching football this weekend? You guys know the NFL just rigs it for the Chiefs, right? Because they need to have Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. You guys know that, right? Chiefs are going to win. So they have to let the Chiefs win. I don't care about sports ball enough, but I do care about conspiracies that are real. So the JFK conspiracies, I'm not sure are real, but the NFL rigging games to make sure Taylor Swift is on the TV broadcast, that does seem real, right? I mean, I'm not. You got to weigh in for me because I don't follow sports ball that close. I haven't watched a minute of football this year, I don't think. So, but it just seems logical that if you're the NFL and you're trying to expand the NFL, you want to make sure that Taylor Swift is on the screen because that brings in a whole new demographic of people. So you can't do that if the Chiefs lose. So I've seen some of the calls. Seems rigged. What am I missing? So tell me if I'm wrong there. aloha@alexmarlow.com. It's too logical. You just follow the money, and the money is Taylor Swift is on the screen. So if you're a follow the money guy, you got to assume they're rigging the games to make sure she survives. All right. Netflix trans best actress Oscar nominee rages at Trump. He's shameless. So I mentioned this earlier that this trans person for this cartel musical that is getting all these nominations from Netflix is maybe one of the front runners to win the Academy Award for Best Actress. It's interesting because someone sent me this Megyn Kelly rant where Megyn was really offended on behalf of all women that a man was nominated. Who cares? The Oscars. The Oscars a big joke anyway. It's been a joke forever. It's not in tune with popular culture. The movies that win are not movies anyone sees. These are just Hollywood elites pampering themselves. Who cares who wins these awards? It means nothing. Hasn't been anything for many years. So I actually am offended only one trans person was nominated. I think there's massive discrimination against the trans. There's not a single furry nominated. There's not a single three-spirit nominated. And I don't even know if there is enough Qs nominated. As simple as that. So I'm calling for the Oscars to have more representation of the trans and the furries and the those who are into pup play, like that guy from like that guy from the Biden the armed forces. We got to bring up that photo in case that reference is too obscure for people. But look, we don't have enough representation, and the one trans is the least the Oscars can do. And I applaud them for finally doing their part to advance civil rights in our modern time. I was thinking about all these people who got confirmed in the Biden White House, thinking about Rachel Levine, who got a 52 vote, got some Republican vote. Just a reminder that Lloyd Austin got confirmed with Republican votes, who came from Raytheon, major defense contractor. Hegseth's nomination on Knife's Edge, I think he's going to get through, but I think it could be 50 or 51 votes. It's not going to be that many. And just note that from Murkowski and Collins and anyone who doesn't want to support him, that a lot of these guys voted for Democrats who were part of the deep state. And some of them even voted for trans Rachel/Richard Levine. So we'll be keeping an eye on confirmations all weekend long on Breitbart News. All right. A man arrested after jumping over a wall at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. So days after inauguration, Bijan Arceo, 32-year-old former real estate agent. This guy's nuts. It's a very dangerous time right now. A lot of left-wing violent people who their rage has been fostered by our establishment media, by the lawfare against Trump. When you constantly tell people are Nazis, people are criminals, they should be in jail, maybe they're fascists, whatever, they're cheaters, they're election deniers, whatever it is, it's going to give people really crazy ideas on how to deal with them. And I'm just warning you that is not a good thing for Trump's safety. And we need to be very careful. We need to start working on that Secret Service right away. All right, last one I'll bring up for today. Americans are saying no to sex like never before, with young men leading the depression trend. To the New York Post, Breitbart, we got our own version of this too. One of the biggest drivers of declining sexual activity is decline in marriage. Married people have more sex, and for most adults, marriage is occurring later or not at all. Are we allowed to talk about this stuff? It feels like pretty obvious one. We are living a phone-based life. We're not learning social skills. We're arresting people's development. We're telling them they're supposed to stay in university until they're in their late 30s and accumulate massive amounts of debt and not get on top of their lives. We have crafted the economy so that it is constantly chipping away at the value of a bachelor's degree, at the value of any sort of basic skills. So if you're in the working class or middle class, you're struggling to make ends meet, it is not an environment where you feel like you just want to jump into marriage and family life. And we need to preserve this. We need to be pro-family if we want to be pro-American. So I can't tell you how many people in my life feel like they're not going to have as many kids as they want to have because they got trapped in some logic that they need to build up their career, catch up on student debt, enjoy their extended adolescence into their late 20s, and then finally start thinking about family life, and then it's very late. And they also find they'll never have enough money. I always recommend have as many kids as you can afford and then have one more. That's the goal. That's what I'm trying to do, the Marlow household. But this is a serious thing. And I'm fine if there's slightly less fornication than has been standardized in our culture. But our culture, we glorify people who think of sex as a sport. Shouldn't be. And then we have done everything we can to undermine the institution of marriage, be it with our godlessness, with our corporatism, with the fact that it's so hard to have a home because we have a crisis in terms of housing prices. To track this trend, this is a very negative trend. It represents so many bad things that are going on. The cost of living for normal Americans, the fact that we're losing social skills, the fact that marriage is not happening, the fact that we are turning away from faith, all this bad. And we need to have this conversation, and probably worthy of more time than I'm prepared to dedicate now, because we're getting towards the end of the broadcast already. Got a lot of email, a lot of birthday email. I'll tell you, the first Birthday email I got, though, you all got beat. Sweet Tooth Dentistry. Sweet Tooth Dentistry was the first. They were the first. Brad Young Insurance also hit me very quickly. That was good. So a lot of people who do minor amounts of business with me over the years hit me with the birthday notes right away. It's kind of funny. You see who your friends are. I will tell you, I have one of my small businesses, a bank that I do very minimal amounts of banking. It's a really small business. And I got a card from them. I think every person in the bank had signed it. That was kind of funny. My only birthday card I've got so far. All right. Happy birthday, Alex, from the East Coast. This is from Michael Herzog. Birthday show, 90 minutes. No one will complain. Treat yourself. I don't know if no one will complain. Missy might complain. It's a lot of show. I'm going to get tired, too. I got to take breaks during these shows. There's no real commercials. If there's a commercial, I'm talking during it. That sounds long. I think we could do a 90-minute show if I've got a guest who's going to be interesting for 90 minutes. So, but I'm just being realistic about it. I don't picture all of you consuming more than the 45, 50 minutes a day times 5. Is there anyone who really needs more? And I'll tell you, if you want more, the Breitbart Fight Club, every day I do an extra interview. I'm about to have Peter Schweitzer on. Once I'm done with this, I'm going over there and I'm going to interview Peter Schweitzer. It's going to be amazing. So if you want more Marlow, you got to join the Breitbart Fight Club. That's the game, guys. But thank you for the kind sentiment. All right. Hi, Alex. Happy early birthday from John Kotwicki. Love your show. Reminds me of my favorite parts of when you used to do Breitbart News Daily, the opening monologues. Hey, funny thing, I tried listening to you at 1.5 speed, and you know what you get when you play at 1.5 speed? You get Ben Shapiro. Take care. Yeah, we've been talking about this. What's the correct speed to listen to my show? Another one of you emailed, say you like 1.25, and that the show is boring at single speed. I thought that was kind of mean. It's kind of a compliment assault. But I agree. I like the 1.25 for when I'm just talking, and the 1.5 if I'm doing an interview. I think that's the right speed. There's some shows you got to do double speed. There's some shows you should do single speed. But for me, that's how I like it. And I'm encouraging you to speed it up because I feel like if the show's more exciting for you, if it's at the pace you like, then you're more likely to listen. And I don't care if you listen at what speed. It doesn't matter to me. So, all right. Let's see. Sam McHugh. Happy birthday, Alex. With warm greetings from Calgary, Alberta. We only have the best Canadians. It's going to be the best state in the union. We've just climbed out of the negative 20 degree temperatures. Yikes this week. So I'm celebrating by watching your show in my Hawaiian shirt. You know, sometimes you need to wear the Hawaiian shirt when it's cold. It gives you those nice vibes. Love to see you're back in the air. I missed your presence on 125 Patriot on Sirius XM. Nice to actually see folks like the Godfather, John Nolte. And of course, the long format interviews are just long enough, but not too long. Kudos. Yeah. If I do the long form, I want to do 45 to an hour, or maybe hour 15. Tucker has these people on and I'm interested in them, but I feel like if I'm committing to 2 or 3 hours, it makes me not want to go for it. And he's clearly knows what he's doing. I'm not doubting him. And I know he's emulating what Rogan does, and that's clearly working. But I find that there's less so in Tucker show, but Rogan shows have a lot of fat. There's a lot of fat in those shows. And I feel like that's his method, is that he draws people out and he thinks that maybe by the third hour, they'll be off their talking points and then they'll be really interesting. I get it. I understand it. I don't know. It's asking a lot of the audience. Because I'm stunned that when he'll have a guest on, he's kind of interesting. And then he'll have a guest on and his guest will be super interesting. And then it'll be 30 minutes in the show and they'll just be doing boxing history. And I'll be thinking, like, why am I listening to this? Like, this thing, I don't care about this. I got stuff to do in my life. Anyway, so nice to see you talk to folks like John Nolte, the Godfather, my real life Godfather. Any plans of other names on, like Charlie Hurt, Frank Gaffney, who I always enjoyed listening to? If they don't come on, don't worry. I'll keep watching. I'm a Fight Club subscriber as well. Thank you. And Breitbart Confidential always gets kudos. That's my show over there. And just curious, have a great day. Best wishes, Paul Eakins. Paul, let me tell you what the deal is. I'm going to have Charlie on. So Charlie got a big promotion over Fox. So Fox has rules where they'll let you talk on radio, but they won't let you talk on video. And Charlie is now going to be the weekend morning host at Fox. It's going to be hard to get him. So Charlie Hurt, who was a Drudge and now is at Fox, one of my best friends, one of the most interesting people in the world, and should be a resource for me on the show. But that's part of the deal where if Fox is a big corporation called News Corp, and they want to control their talent. So that's it. So I think Charlie will be on. We'll probably have to talk to him without the camera rolling, but I've got to go off of his Fox schedule because they're grooming him for big things over there. So it is their gain is my loss, unfortunately. And Gaffney, we will have on. Yeah, I'll do more guests. It's just the news have been so heavy that I feel like I need to spend the whole show talking about the news. And when that is not the case, then we'll do more guests, which will be soon. All right. Here's another one. And this emailer, I forgot to write the email. I got to get more careful here. But Alex, now that Google appears to be coming around, isn't time for Breitbart to push to remove the Google ban as content? Consider bringing this up when you meet with Trump. Great idea. I'm going back and forth with the White House and when we're going to have our first interview. It's looking like in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So not immediately, but it'll be very soon. And I will absolutely ask about Google censorship at Breitbart. It will change the world if Google stops censoring Breitbart. We have the best, most comprehensive coverage. We have the most accurate coverage. We are the historical record for the last decade plus in this country. And Google blocks us. They block us completely. And it's been that way for almost 5 years. If Google stops doing that, the world will be a much better place. And I'll be asking the President of the United States that specifically the next time I see him. I've asked him about it before. Nothing's gotten done. So my expectations remain muted. But I will 100% be asking the president about that. And thank you for the reminder. That is today's show. Happy birthday to me and happy birthday to you whenever you celebrate it. Thanks to producer Misty. And for all of you sticking with me and telling 10,000 friends and family members about the show. We'll talk to you next week.